Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the DoubleClutch.ca podcast. I'm your host, Nick, managing editor of DoubleClutch.ca magazine, and it is a regular crew show this week. We got Nuthin and Imran here in the studio. We are fresh off of attending the Oblivion 80s and 90s car show that this past weekend, and we got some fancy cars in the garage this week, fancy and sporty. So, let's dive right into it.
Yeah,
how's Oblivion this year, guys?
Yeah, let's cover Oblivion. That was fun. It was a good show. For anyone, first let's cover the fact that hopefully we may have picked up some new listeners from being there because we were sponsoring the event. We were very visible. We tried really hard to get our name out with having branding and some fucking pretty rad cars there.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
And for anyone listening who is not familiar with Oblivion, maybe you're from the States or whatever, Oblivion is basically Radwood in Toronto. Right, it's the same idea of an 80s and 90s cars and culture show. It's curated by a guy named Justin. He does a great job, kind of moves the venue around every year. And it's a really, really cool show. It's really well set up, really well done.
Yeah, it's a cool experience. It's they've been doing it since about 2019, and we've pretty much attended every single year.
Yeah.
Aside from 2020, but, we don't talk about 2020.
It's my second year attending Oblivion. And, dare I say, for me, being born in the 80s, I think it's possibly the coolest car show that I go to.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Since last year.
Yeah.
It's
literally no other car show. There's no other car show where you'll see a Testarossa parked beside, a Mercury Sable or a Nissan Stanza.
Yeah.
And people aren't losing their minds over the Testarossa. They're losing their minds over the fucking Sable.
The Testarossa won an award, though.
It did, though.
Yeah, and that's the coolest part about it, isn't it? It's I remember when we were rolling in and we brought some really cool stuff.
Oh, yeah. Which we will get to.
Yeah, all over the spectrum. But I remember seeing, I don't know what exotic, but I remember specifically then seeing an early 90s Monte Carlo SS, the red ones. And when I was a kid, I thought those were cool.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They're sick.
I just seeing one it was mint as can be.
Oh yeah,
and I was just that's neat.
Yeah, there are so many obscure normal cars that have been lost to the sands of time, and they all come out and play just on that day.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
just a crazy pristine Nissan Stanza.
I was literally I was going to say that Nissan Stanza. I think all of us were cool.
What?
Nissan Stanza.
I saw that on Motor Week.
Motor Week.
Do you guys watch the retro reviews?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
John Davis is all hail John Davis.
Yeah,
and his jackets.
So the whole show is Motor Week retro reviews in person. It's stellar.
Yeah.
I think there was actually a Stellar there. Was there a Hyundai Stellar there?
This year at Oblivion? I don't recall. I don't recall seeing one.
So remember we saw that Pulsar.
Yeah, the Pulsar was cool.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah, they had a little Pulsar thing with the different backs on them, I think.
It looked like they were in that pen that they had them set up in. It looked like they were mating.
Yeah.
The one with the back was doing a mating dance to attract a mate and
Right, moving on. And the show is curated such that it's mostly stock cars.
Yes.
Or cars that have been very tastefully done.
It's OEM
Right,
plus at the most.
Yeah, well there's a couple cars like there was a Miata that we were saying that you should go check out. That was not OEM plus at all.
That black one?
Missed that.
But the black one with the red top, absolutely
that.
gorgeous car.
I kind of feel like that was OEM plus plus. It was that was perfect.
Just very period correct, very nicely done.
We're talking about the one that had that carbon fiber center console. That one, or that the one we're talking about?
No, it had a stainless steel center console, I think.
Oh, which one? Okay,
But black and red top. It was the only one there.
with the gold wheels.
Yeah.
The
word
and then
wheels.
those Euro.
Yeah.
tail. Okay, yeah.
curling
Okay,
gray.
we're talking about. Okay, yeah. Did you not see that? Thing?
No, I missed that.
Oh, we were we were drooling over it.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it was parked next to a Viper, parked next to a Lotus Esprit, parked next to a Mercedes E55,
Exactly.
parked next to a very clean Civic.
Oh, that E55 was very clean.
That's my
too.
buddy Chris's car.
That thing was nice too.
I drove that car, and I liked that car so much, I sold my 546 speed and bought an E55 the following week.
Yeah.
Amazing car.
Yeah, and it's just this crazy time warp. And yeah, what Nathan just said, all those cars parked alongside right next to each other, is just the wildest thing.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have been going since since its inception, pretty much
Yeah,
5-6
since
years.
Basically started out as a random show in a parking lot at like a GO station. It was literally started out as that.
And this year it was, I think, north of 300 cars registered.
I believe it was exactly 307.
Okay, like
So
it was
quite the big turnout.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and hey, like we brought some cool stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So I guess we'll start from most to least. No,
I don't even know where to
show
like
start.
this. How do you categorize that?
Let's go oldest, newest.
Oldest news. All right.
Oh, I can't. I don't even know if we can do that.
All right. I guess we could.
No, wait. Let's just go left to right.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
That's
Okay.
better.
So like that's how I'm picturing it.
So let's start with a beige 95 Toyota Camry LE Sport, which was featured on the print version of doubleclutch.ca magazine, online print.
Yes.
Yeah, just a really immaculate beige Camry.
Yeah, 95 V6 Sport, which I can't believe I'm actually remembering this, but I guess Addie's non-stop nerding out have about that car actually stuck with me. That Sport, I'm pretty sure, is a Canadian-only trim level. So, yeah, do with that information what you please.
Super rare Camry that drove shockingly well.
So
Like actually
It's
nice car.
incredibly smooth.
and like it purrs. I remember when we brought it back.
Oh yeah,
Nick and myself we're standing outside of it, and I think it's actually your wife who called it out. She's like, I didn't realize the thing's still on.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's so quiet.
It really is. Like it was like Lexus levels of quiet in a Camry.
It's got like a whole row of like crown stickers on
rust
the windshield.
checker, rust check
that
thing.
was fucking clean.
Yeah, and it's like it's the exact beige Camry that you're picturing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like and that's why it's cool, is because it's that beige Camry from your childhood.
yeah.
Yeah. What's next?
So we parked that
Next to another Camry.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
We parked that beside Addie's 90 Camry.
Yeah, it's a
90 Camry All-Track.
Yeah, so the two-tone silver and gray Camry All-Track. Like his significance with it is that it was his father's first car when he immigrated here. So like it's like a very sentimental car for him, and it's like immaculate.
Yeah.
And, like you'd never see it like that shaped Camry that clean ever.
I feel like
He's picked up awards for that car before.
He has, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like aside from the two other cars that got a fair bit of attention at our setup, like the two Camrys probably attracted the most attention aside from the two others that we'll get into shortly.
Yeah, yeah, they really did. It's wild, but I mean, it makes sense. I mean, we were walking around gawking over a Stanza,
Oh yeah,
and
so did everyone else.
right.
Yeah.
So
And they were gawking at our Camrys.
exactly. And the thing is like we all go to car shows. We go to car shows where we see the exotics and we see the sports cars. Like we see, I don't want to say they're a dime a dozen, but we see them.
You've seen it. Yeah.
You don't see a
seen it.
minty, fresh, 1990. Is it a 90 Camry? The All-Track?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you don't see it. You don't see it on the road. You don't see it at a show, except for Oblivion.
Yeah.
Which is why your eyes widen. You're like, holy crap!
yeah.
Oh my
That's
god.
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's still here?
Yeah. Speaking of this '90s Camry All-Track, my Camry is more that '95-ish one. Does this one share anything with the? Did the Celica All-Track?
I honestly don't know.
Because
It existed then. Not in North America, but it existed.
The Celica
Earlier?
All-Track was turbo all-wheel drive.
right, yeah, okay. I wonder if the all-wheel drive system has any similarities.
Probably.
Someone was telling me that.
Probably.
Must not have been
Smart
the
like
two
that,
of you,
or probably
so,
did.
Yeah, so I don't know if has just a tiny bit of wolf in sheep's clothing DNA, like just a little bit, maybe.
I've driven
I
that
don't know.
car. I know it doesn't.
There's nothing. That thing is all sheep. Like
How much
all
horsepower
sheep.
does that thing have?
It sure
Was
does.
it in the 80s?
20
80-ish?
probably at this point.
Not a lot.
All right, fair enough.
So we parked that up beside my NA Miata, which is basically any other normal, just your average NA Miata. We'll spare you all the details.
Hey,
with that.
there's some nice BBS wheels in that thing. And,
Thank you.
And the mirrors are different.
Got a bunch of little
Yeah,
tweaks on
got a
it.
lot.
Little touches here and
nice
there.
Miata.
Yeah, it looks good.
Thank you.
And remind me, what was next to the Miata? I can't remember if it was the BMW or the Porsche.
A very pretty carbon black E39 M5.
That's right. Those cars are cool.
Ooh, tasty. That thing sounded incredible.
Yeah, and with like the carbon black on the sort of, what is that finish? It's like a darker silver on those wheels.
Shadow chrome, they call it.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's just perfection.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah.
And
very
we know
tasty.
everyone loves that E39 M5 from what's that video?
The higher.
The Higher.
Yeah.
The Higher. Yeah. Like classic from our era for
Absolutely. God, it's so weird to think that's like 2003 is considered.
Let's just not. Next to that was a absolutely gorgeous triple blue Ferrari F355 Spider, gated with the sweet 6-speed. That is possibly the best sounding car on this planet.
God.
I had the privilege of following it home
Yep.
in the car next to it. Unreal.
I had the privilege.
Yeah.
I was sandwiched between Imran and said 355 on the way up to Oblivion, and I lost count of how many eargasms I had.
Yeah.
I think that sounds incredible.
Yeah, it really does. And is it stock, like exhaust wise?
No.
Or there's some.
No.
Okay. There's some
To
magic?
be exhaust.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it sounds like the 355 has this lore to it. And I've heard like one or two. But every time you hear it, you're just like, okay, I get it.
Oh, this is why I like cars.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It really is. Like, it just has that. When you think of what a Ferrari sounds like,
It's that.
it's
Yeah.
that.
It's that. It's
Like-
so ridiculously good.
Yeah, even if you've never heard a 355 in person, that's still what you think of when you think of what a Ferrari
it's
sounds
that
like.
sound.
You just don't know
just
it.
that
Like,
exotic shriek. Yeah.
It's just like you're just subconsciously born with that.
Yeah.
Programmed into your brain.
Yeah. That is the sound of fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. And the whole triple blue thing, it looks
Yeah,
great. I
it's
like the
such a
fact
cool
that it's
color
not
combo.
It's not red.
That it's not red. And then the second color you might see is probably the yellow. So
I like the yellow. I have a soft spot for the yellow.
I kind of like the yellow too.
yellow is nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just find blue is quite unique.
Yeah. I think silver looks really good on those cars. Silver, like a very medium gray, like a high metallic
okay.
content. Like it looks real fancy.
Brings up the lines.
Yeah.
So parked up beside that was another not red Ferrari.
Yes, it was the car I had the privilege of driving in. Not my car. Don't get any ideas, guys. Any ladies listening? Stay disappointed. It's a 1986 Ferrari Testarossa. One of the rare early monoposto cars with just one really high mirror on the driver's side.
So how hard was that to back in?
Yes.
No power steering, right?
No power steering.
Okay. So I saw you like flexing a little bit to try to get the.
Oh, I wasn't
the
flexing
wheel
to be
move.
cool. I was flexing to move it.
Hey, you looked the part though, man. You had that nice flamingo shirt going on.
Oh, you
like,
got to lean into it.
Yeah, you looked Miami.
That car, I'm gonna be doing a piece on that car, but just to give like quick Cole's notes, that was from before Ferrari figured out how to build cars well. They hadn't quite figured it out at that point. They were resting on the fact that like, no, we're Ferrari. The cars we make, you're gonna buy them and you're gonna like them.
To be fair, the 355 still kind of embodied that, just a teeny tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But like it was that middle ground.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
Someone wrote a piece about the 355s and
Some
kind of
guy.
got into this. It was me. But yeah, the NSX kind of turned all that around
Right.
and showed the world like you can have a supercar that looks like a supercar and drives like a supercar and lives
Works.
like a Honda.
Yeah.
And the Testarossa was from well before that, and it drives accordingly. It is objectively somewhat poor.
So it is. I mean, it's striking to look at.
It is striking.
Absolutely.
It is memorable. I had fun. I'm glad I did it. But if you're looking for like, if you're used to pretty much anything made after 1990 and you get into this, it will be a rude awakening.
So, and maybe
Like the fact that you heard me back in the car up.
Yeah.
I was doing it kind of race car style, like just blip, 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 instead of slipping the clutch, because the throttle linkage on those cars is so sticky and so stiff, you can't open it smoothly. You just lean on it and then it slams open. So the only way to do it was just to slam it open a bunch of times.
Hey,
the
man,
brakes
sounded
work the
great.
same way. Really awkward. The shifter is, the synchros are kind of not super hot. They just sort of they're there to help, not there to synchronize all the way. You're supposed to do most of that.
Okay, wait, what year is this?
86.
Okay, I mean, we could forgive that.
But when it's been like warmed up for half an hour to warm up all the oil in that thing, and everything is like loosey goosey and ready to go, and the cobweb is blown out, it's pretty special. That flat 12 screaming behind you is really quite something, and the chassis is surprisingly well sorted.
Yeah, I just like the biggest thing that sticks out to me for that with that thing is like when you look at it from the rear end.
Oh, it's so hot. It's such a
like,
hot car, like literally quite hot. To open the engine bay, because they've got it right under the exhaust. It's stupid. You will get burnt, but
it's just like
it looks so cool,
and it's just so wide looking.
It's so wide. It's so exaggerated. It's so dramatic.
Yeah,
it's a wild car.
Yeah, it really is. This one was in black.
Yeah, black on tan, like super classic, like drug dealer dirty color combo. Like it was awesome.
Yeah, that's the thing. They look fantastic.
Yeah.
I will say though that, and you know, maybe you're being a little easy on it, but the 355 noise is still definitely in my head.
Yeah.
And I can't recall so much.
You couldn't hear it over the 355.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, you couldn't really hear it over the... Like, you can hear the other Ferrari we also had.
Yeah. That car was also quite loud. So I guess I'll move into that.
Yeah.
The next car was a 90... Can't remember if it's a 6 or 7. 550 Maranello in, like, that dark metallic gray over blue. Real pretty car. Drives so nice. Getting into that and just moving that around our little pavilion after the Testarossa was like, wow. They figured it out by this point. This is actually quite nice. The clutch isn't trying to break my leg off, and the shifter works. Neat.
What a concept.
And it's just pretty.
It's such a pretty car.
Absolutely.
I feel like that model lineup has kind of gone very up and down in terms of style. You know, some of the newer ones are kind of weird.
Yeah.
And that one specifically, and this is probably my own personal bias, and I think in Bad Boys 2 it was a 575, I think, but very similar, obviously.
I thought it was a 550.
Was it a 550?
I think so.
Okay, maybe you're right, but yeah, that whole scene, just is etched in my brain.
So kick-ass.
I feel like it was around that point where I kind of stopped caring about Ferrari.
Really?
Like around
That's
the 550.
probably when I started caring about Ferrari.
Really? Well, I love the 550. I love everything about it. I love how it looks. I love the V12. I love the gated manual. But like after that, it's just like it's just nothing really kind of scratched the itch quite like it. Like maybe the F430 after that, but like just kind of stopped caring about them afterwards.
Yeah, like I'd say the 430 was kind of up there. The 360, like that's the first one first exotic car actually that I ever had the privilege of driving, of trying out. So
they're
that's
so
like
good.
That's just forever in my
good.
brain.
Yeah.
But I mean, realistically speaking, like I think I was like 24 years old. It was just some like just dumb luck, and I probably didn't go over like 5,000 RPM because
You're still afraid of it. Yeah.
100%. So I would still like to experience one of those at full bore.
You should. They're lovely.
But yeah, I don't disagree with you. I feel like there's a point where Ferrari, first of all, started to lean into some of the tech stuff, but also, and this is probably not actually accurate, but went from being what I call hand-drawn to drawn on a computer. So
the Enzo was kind of a big turning point. It was very like that set the tone to go forward.
Yeah, and I feel like that hand-drawn passion of some of these, like the 550 and before, there's just something so pretty about it.
Yeah.
And newer Ferraris are great. I drove that 488. I wrote a review on that thing. Holy shit, is that thing a monster? Like it's objectively phenomenal. And actually I'd say that's probably one of the nicer looking ones too. But yeah, there is
just don't quite tug at the heartstrings the same way as a 355 or a 550 does.
I think in pursuit of aerodynamics, something's been lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not to get too into that, but it feels like like there's a point of completion, and like it's like, is everyone just gonna get there and like everything's just gonna be the same?
It's
right?
just going to be a teardrop. Everything's going to be a bullet. We're already halfway there. Look outside. Everything's the same suppository blob.
Oh God.
Because that's the thing. Like that's what I found. Like what differentiated sort of Lamborghini and Ferrari. I feel like Lamborghini went sooner to the digital age, we'll call it, versus Ferrari, and then Ferrari kind of started doing the same thing and just doesn't feel objectively different. I'm not talking about how they drive. I'm just saying when you see one,
Just how they look.
But yeah. Anyways, 550, beautiful car.
Yeah, that's like it's still like such a classic like GT car shape, like very long hood, short deck, like just a real pretty classic car.
Absolutely. Speaking of classic shapes, classic style, beside that, we parked a 964 Carrera.
Yeah,
Carrera 4 beside it.
1991 Porsche 911 Carrera 4.
Yep. Blue on blue.
Also blue on blue. We like our blue around here.
Yeah, we like blue.
Yeah.
That thing has so much character.
Yeah.
Love that thing.
Yeah, I really like that car. That car annoys me with how good it is to drive.
Yeah.
Like it's shockingly excellent.
Yep.
That's one of those cars like, oh yeah, I get why people are so bonkers about stupid air cooled Porsches because they're fucking brilliant.
Yep. Yeah, it really is like that thing, and especially I guess in the Carrera 4 trim, feels very sure-footed.
Yeah, it's not spooky.
Yeah, no, not at all. And I haven't driven, I guess a C2 in air-cooled format. I don't know if either of you have, but
not a 964. I've driven a couple G bodies from before that.
Yeah,
but not a 964.
And is it only the turbos that are the Widowmakers, or those ones are a little sketchy as well? Because the C4 doesn't feel sketchy at all.
They're allegedly a little sketchy, but like it's the turbo that has that name stuck to it.
Right, fair enough. This thing's it's fantastic, and it looks great. It's got it's got those like classic
the cup
five-spoke
wheels.
Yeah, the cup wheels. That's what they are, right?
5-spoke wheels. God, those are timeless.
Yeah, that's got the J pipe on it too, so it's got like a really deep, throaty like boxer bubble to it. That car sounds excellent.
Yeah.
Imran, what'd you roll up in?
Oh, I had the privilege of driving a absolutely mint. I don't even know the year. You guys probably do.
97.
97 Integra Type R.
Sweet.
White with the white wheels. Again, exactly what you picture when you think Integra Type R. Holy hell, is that a good car?
What a cool car.
Like, first of all,
what a screamer.
Incredibly well-sorted example.
Yeah.
Like, the interior, funny enough, it had a Sony Explode deck.
It's pretty correct.
And the reason I bring this up is because, and a little embarrassing, but at one point my Hotmail email address was had Explode in it.
We were all there, but at one point, man, we were all there.
So when I saw that, I giggled. I was like, awesome.
We're going home, buddy.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, it's just such a good car. There's no power there, but like
they're not fast, but they're wild. Like I remember the first time I drove. It wasn't even that. First time I drove an SIR. So an even milder version of the same idea. I'm like, I can't believe Honda sold these to people.
Yeah, and it's
stock like this. This is crazy.
Yeah, I just like it's not one of those like never meet your heroes moments.
Yeah,
like you meet
it's
it
good.
and
it's
you're
actually
like,
that good.
Yeah, as long as obviously your expectations are in check in terms of like this was never a fast straight line car.
Yeah,
it was never meant to be a fast straight line car.
Yeah.
But everything else that it was meant to be, it is.
Yeah, and it crushes it.
Yeah.
Like when I started working with double clutch, I had the privilege of driving one of those cars. Not this one, but a different example. And at the time, I thought that was the best car I'd ever driven until I drove a Ferrari 360, and I thought that's just slightly better because it's like driving two Type Rs at the same time.
and that is a fantastic compliment.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and even this, like this I know they've gone up in price, obviously, because they're collectors now, and they're probably in around the 50K range now.
Thereabouts.
Yeah. But man, like if you wanna time warp and go back to the peak of the late 90s or the 90s, like it is it.
Yeah. When people bitch about like things getting lost in modern cars, engagement, sound, feel, it's that. That's what they made. That's what they're referring to.
And
it's that.
Just like the cleanliness of the gauge cluster and like just like the simplicity of it all is just like it's just fantastic.
It's so sweet. And it's such a pretty car.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
It's the white out, like the white on white. The amount of times I remember when we were pulling in, I had the windows down. I must have had like 3 or 4 people easily that I heard were like, wow, that's such a nice Type R. Like so many people. And I bet you we didn't get that many for some of the exotics even.
I couldn't hear them over the sound of me grunting.
Yeah, trying to turn that
Trying
wheel.
to turn the damn wheel.
Yeah, and that's it. And the crazy thing is like, and now even more so, like that whole VTEC changeover.
It's
just
so angry.
and I love it.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't do anything. It's just louder.
Yeah, like back in the day, you thought that it was like some kind of like, and I've had a bunch of Hondas, right?
Yeah.
And you thought it was some kind of like, it felt like it was some kind of nitrous surge, you know? And then today when it kicks in, it's like, it just feels like it gets louder and it's like plus 5 horsepower maybe.
Yeah.
When you're behind,
but I
it's
love
such a cool sound. It's such a deep octave it reaches down into.
Yeah.
well, you were behind me, and I had my top down. I could audibly hear it when you were
The changeover?
Yeah. When you were revving past like 5K, and you were behind me, and you were a few car lengths behind me too, and I could still hear you
$6,000.
clearly.
VTEC kickover on that engine is 6,000 RPMs.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it keeps going to like
And
what,
it keeps
84,
going to
8,500 RPM, right? Like
I know.
And that's the thing. Like you don't find these high revvers anymore, and like certainly not at that price point.
Yeah.
Because that was an approachable. It wasn't exotic. Like it was, but it wasn't. It was just an Acura.
And yeah, just like winding it out. And that's the thing. Like I know you guys are both Miata owners. Like one of the beauties of having a very well sorted car that isn't objectively fast is how much fun you can actually have in it.
Yeah, you can wind it out all the time without worrying about losing your license.
Exactly. And it's like you're not trying to go for a top score. Never once did I look at the speedometer.
Yeah.
I did look at the tach a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Wow, look at it go!
Yeah, but for all I know, I was doing 70, and a Monitor
Probably.
Odyssey was smoking me. But I didn't give a shit. Like it was like I was having a blast. So.
Yeah. A car like that, hands down, is about the experience. Like, no doubt about it.
And it's still there, 100%.
Yeah, it's so good.
And then we capped off our lineup with a very rare specimen of Subaru.
Yeah, that's probably the rarest car at the show. Like I shat. Like,
I sure as heck have never seen one at a show on the street.
yeah,
Never.
it's hard to find pictures of these things on the internet.
Yeah.
And it was just sitting there. A kid touched it. So it was I'm not sure what year. I think it was a 99. But it's a early, GC body Impreza STI S201. So one of the very rare cars that was just for Japan. They only made, I think, 201 of them with a very, let's say, interesting period correct body kit from STI.
It definitely had a look to it.
Yeah. And the owner, who is a good friend of ours, spent a lot of time getting that car to look exactly the way it did when it rolled out of the STI workshop. It's really cool car, like insanely
so
rare
clean.
cool car.
It's so immaculate.
Yeah.
So I guess it's so obscure here in North America, and not that I'm a encyclopedia of all things automotive, but I actually had to ask him, like,
what is this car?
Yeah, like give me the backstory here.
Yeah.
And
actually, what did he say?
And I'm probably gonna get it wrong, but he mentioned a lot of firsts from an STI perspective.
Okay.
That's what's coming to mind right now. But what I want to bring up is, like, before you Google this, and I hope you Google this car, when I saw it, like, I thought, like, I'm like, that must be an aftermarket body kit. Like it's
wild.
It's
No, it's
gotta
factory.
be. And it's factory. Like it reminds you of Need for Speed Underground. Like right? Like it's like
it's a little bit way over the top.
It's crazy, but that's what makes it awesome, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it's two-tone, like the
like the car's silver, like a dark silver,
Yeah.
and the kit is like a gray,
Yeah.
and they all were like, that's just
Yeah.
the way they came with gold wheels because Subaru.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's no joke because this thing is, even back in '99, I guess, is what it was, is 300 horsepower.
Yeah.
Like on the nose, like that's a heck of
And
a
it
lot
was
of
light
horsepower.
and tight, and like they handled really well.
Yeah.
The only car, a GC Impreza is the only car to be faster than Takumi Fujiwara on the downhill. The only car.
Oh, interesting.
Today I learned.
Yeah. We'll get into that later.
And so this was right-hand drive imported from Japan.
Yep.
I assume there was no left-hand drive versions of this.
They were only for Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we got saddled with a 2.5 RS, which is sweet in its own right, but not the same.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, super special.
Yeah, like crazy special car. I think it's like the proto STI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that pretty much rounds off our lineup at Oblivion. Great show. Had a lot of fun. Very tired by the end of the day. My feet were really sore.
Punk
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah.
I know, right?
You have to drive a Testarossa helm after that.
It's,
I was already clapped by the time I got there.
Hey, I'm going to one-up all you guys because when my wife showed up, and she really enjoyed the show as well,
Cool.
Realized that we forgot the stroller at home. And so had to lug the child around everywhere. So that was something. But yeah, he had a blast too. He's
That's awesome.
Yeah, every single car, he was just pointing him out. Every single one. Yeah,
It's such a cool experience because like no other car show really offers that kind of a broad appeal, not just from car people like us, but it's also like people who are stuck in the 90s too. It's not just about the cars; it's about the culture too.
Yeah.
And I think perhaps we didn't touch on that, but it's like people will come, and I found last year was even more when they had sort of that white wedding theme. Like,
Yeah, they were leaning into it harder last year.
This year, the theme was actually field trip.
Yep.
So I actually saw first of all, there was a school bus going around. I think it was acting as a shuttle.
Yeah.
But it was an actual
and
legit,
there was like a Miss Frizzle on board.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to point that out. There was a Miss Frizzle on board. I saw her in the food lineup. But they also have like a bunch of 80s and 90s stuff. They had this computer. We should talk about the car that was in there.
Yeah, that was a cool car.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, anyways, I'll let Nathan touch on that because he knows more about that thing than I do. But there was essentially like, we'll call it a computer lab where they had a bunch of old Macs and old PCs running old games that you can actually play, as well as old consoles.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of like.
Yeah, and there was like a line of arcade cabinets too.
Yeah,
like,
and then behind that, I don't know if you saw, someone was like, I collected like old cereal boxes.
Yeah.
Which was wild.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of old toys.
Yeah, like old board games and stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah, so it's like it's incredible to see some of this preserved stuff. But yeah, in that barn, I think it was,
Yeah,
there
it
was
was a little
something
barn.
really special. Might have been one of the coolest cars there.
Definitely one of the coolest cars there. So it was, I believe, I didn't talk to anybody about it, but just looking at it, I believe it was a Merkur XR4 Ti that was heavily modified to be a super wide body Sierra RS 500 Cosworth. It looked like that, but wider.
Okay.
Yep.
With like in Ford's Atlas blue, that kind of gray blue.
Yeah.
With like a totally redone interior, totally redone gauge cluster, giant brakes.
Running an EcoBoost engine underneath.
And a Focus RS engine.
Yeah.
Or probably a Mustang EcoBoost high performance engine.
EcoBoost 4-popper.
Yeah.
It's basically the same powertrain between the.
But either way, super fucking cool build.
Oh, yeah.
Like incredibly cool build.
It looks so. It was finished in this kind of dark, flat gray.
Yeah. I think the Atlas Gray is called. It
Is
looks a
Yeah.
lot like the Ford
Yeah.
blue that
It was
you see in a lot of press
And
cars
it just has that rally car look to it. Like it was.
now. It's so badass.
When we all saw it, we were just kind of like jaw dropped.
Yeah.
really well built.
Extremely clean build. The hood was popped, and you could tell that this was like they took their
Really
time
well
putting
done.
this
Yeah,
together.
yeah, really nicely tucked away. If anyone wants to see any of this stuff, because this is a audio show and we're talking about visuals, it's all over Instagram.
Absolutely.
Just like search Oblivion,
all over our
hashtag
social-
Oblivion.
yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, and it's worth having a look because it's things that again you're not going to see anywhere else. You're probably going to want to be there next year.
Yeah. There's nothing like it. Can't wait for next year's show.
Yeah.
Moving on. Let's see. What do we have in the garage this week? We have. So we have the Range Rover SV.
Yeah, so we've all had a turn with Range Rovers recently, and
Yes.
we decided just to kind of smash them into one segment because they're maybe a little samey.
Maybe. So this week. So this week we have the 2024 Range Rover SV Autobiography short wheelbase.
Yes. Is it SV Autobiography or just SV?
I think it's SV.
I think it's just SV. Yeah. Mine last week was the Autobiography
long wheelbase.
long wheelbase. Yeah. And for anyone, well, not for anyone listening, if you're listening, Land Rover's hierarchy is a little convoluted now because it goes, for the big Range Rovers, it goes SE, Autobiography, which used to be the top trim, and now the SV sits on top of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I had. And then Imran, you had...
I had the Range Rover Sport P550E Autobiography, which is a plug-in hybrid.
Yep.
Just last week.
Yeah, I think
that was the one that was like super dark blue with like the screaming white interior,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
That's right.
So
I think every JLR press car this year has a white interior. Every single one.
Yeah, my Velar. I also had a Velar a little while
That
ago.
was white.
That was
Mine
the
had a
same
white
thing.
interior. His has a two-tone white and gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this thing, it's basically the short wheelbase base version of the big behemoth Nathan had last year, the big white behemoth.
Yeah.
I don't think the short wheelbase lends itself well to the sumptuous accommodations in the back.
Agreed. I think if you're going all out and you're splurging for the big body rangy,
get the long boy.
Like not the Velar, not the Sport, not the Evoque. You want the OG, get the big one.
Yeah.
Like the big one.
Get the,
Not the big one, the big one.
Get the long boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is...
Because I find like getting into the back of this thing, like just the opening of the doors is kind of smallish.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of goes against what the thing is all about. Because this thing is what, 300 grand?
It's over 300K.
Yeah, like they start at 268.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. And it's got like reclining seats and hot stone massage and like all the fancy stuff you could possibly imagine. And then not a ton of legroom, and it's kind of hard to get in and out of.
Yeah.
Whereas the one I had last week that was $100,000 fewer dollars was the long wheelbase one, and the long wheelbase I think adds, I can't remember, it's either 3 or 5, but not a lot of grands to the price.
Great.
Stacked. I think the kids call them stacks.
Yeah.
All right.
That just made way more sense to me. It embodied the whole experience way better.
Yeah. Although to be fair, the when you step up to the SV trim, it does unlock a fair bit of customization that you don't quite get with the Sport and the
that's kind
one.
of the whole thing with the SV.
Yeah.
It sets you up on a higher tier and opens a lot of doors if you want like really crazy stuff. Like yours is in like a matte brick red paint.
Which you mentioned is a $12,000 upgrade.
It's spendy, and I'm fairly sure you could still get the satin paint on the.
I think so because
on the one Nathan had last week.
I was building mine last night.
Yeah,
and like I could get SV options on it.
Yeah,
like your ridiculous matte paint
the paint, the big wheels.
I think the executive lounge with the champagne show that we had last year.
Yeah,
was just for the SVs. I think. Don't hold me to it. Their builder is kind of convoluted.
That makes sense.
It's very pretty, but it's a little convoluted.
So, my whole issue with Range Rover is that kind of what Nathan said off the top.
Yeah,
is that they all feel kind of samey, and it's not that samey is bad because they actually feel great.
They drive.
Oh, absolutely,
beautifully.
The problem is that, like, even when I had the Velar, and yes, it's not a Range Rover SV, but it still has those same characteristics of being like this really nice sort of serene, plush place to be.
Serene was a word.
Like it's a very minimalist design.
Yeah, and
even its base trims, it looks and feels expensive.
And that's the thing, right? And that's 100. That was 103 a spec, I think.
Yeah.
The Velar, and then I got the Range Rover Sport, which obviously is bigger. Funny enough, it had the same color interior, and because they've gone to this sort of no button, single screen,
it's very
clean look.
Yep.
It looks identical, like at least from the front seats, right?
Yeah, no, and I get that. There's nothing to differentiate.
Yeah, and then now driving this Range Rover SV that we have, again, you open the front door, and it doesn't look different.
Yeah, it's cohesive.
And I'm
what they've come up with,
and it's almost like it's like they've created this issue by making their lower range Range Rovers.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah. So nice.
So good.
Yeah.
Right? And I find it hard, like when the Range Rover that I have, the Sport, was priced at $144. And then when I asked Nick off mic, I'm like, what's this SV worth? And you were saying in around $300K. And I was like, holy crap. Like, so you're talking about having a touchscreen on the center console and some reclining seats for like $160,000.
Now,
but it's a Range Rover.
Now, to be fair,
with no suffixes.
To be fair, yours was a Sport, Imran. So it little smaller, not quite as baller.
I feel like mine, the one that I had, the long one that was $200,000.
Yeah,
not $300,000.
That's kind of where
that kind of like that makes some sense to me.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, that tracks. That felt like it's about $200,000. I can see that. Okay, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we're talking about this as if any of us could even dream of affording one of these. New. They'll depreciate off a cliff, but new.
But wait, didn't you roll up in a Testarossa to Oblivion?
Yeah, I just rolled up in a Miata. Come on.
But yeah, it's. I find it hard. I feel like the Range Rover Sport is probably a bit of a sweet spot.
That strikes me as a sweet spot.
And especially in the PHEV, because you get even more of that serenity.
Yeah, so actually I wanted to ask you about that. So like the big ones, at least the ones that we have, both have the BMW V8 out of the X7 M60, which is excellent. But I'm curious about the P550e. Because is that the straight six?
Yeah, it is a straight six.
So it is the straight six that we talked about before with I get 1 to 6 motors. How many motors? 2 or 3 motors? Some motors.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Some motors. And how was that? Like in your experience?
Honestly, I thought it was great.
Okay.
I thought it was great. So for one, had enough range to do my daily driving in EV only mode.
You get a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. You get like 90-ish on a full
it's
charge?
It's just over
pretty
80.
good.
It's like 83 is advertised-ish.
That's very healthy for a bus. Damn.
It was great. That's the thing. And when you're driving in EV only mode, again, it feels right. Like it feels like this is a range, and the wind noise is it's kept to a minimum. It's the whole thing is just quiet. And again,
very quiet vehicles.
The word that keeps coming is serene. Like just serene, especially with that the whitest leather. I think they call it light cloud or something interior. Just all of it felt just so nice. But even with the actual like hybrid powertrain kicking in, that 3-liter straight six is a great motor. It's very smooth. It's also quiet. And it didn't take away from that sort of serenity. It just kept it going.
Did it have because like Mercedes is good about this. They have like a surreal kick on where it's just like, oh, I didn't even notice it start.
You do, like, funny enough, coming out of the Civic Hybrid that I had recently, the Civic Hybrid does it perfectly. Like,
all right.
But
props to Honda, I guess.
Yeah, but the Range Rover isn't bad. It's not bad, but you notice it. Whereas the Civics was just like, I was just shocked at how flawless. Like, it just
there's a couple of companies. I didn't know Honda had it down that well, but like there's a couple of companies that have it like crushed, nailed. Like it's superhuman.
Yeah. But again, like taking nothing away from the Range Rover, like it wasn't a bad experience. I'd say like Range Rover, like the start stop feature in the Velar was more cumbersome than the hybrid system coming on in this Range Rover Sport. So I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think anyone would complain about that whatsoever. It doesn't. The numbers suggest it's a quick little thing. It's heavy, so it's not. But the numbers it's like 543 horsepower, I think, and 590 pound-feet of torque.
That's
which
very
pretty fucking great.
Yeah, which is monstrous, but it's also north of 6,000 pounds, right? And it's like,
is it?
Yeah, that's what I looked up. It was like
Jesus
with the hybrid powertrain, right? So so like it moves adequately, just fine.
Effortless is what they're going for,
and that's what it is. Yeah, and honestly, I felt a similar thing in the Range Rover SV.
Yeah,
like it didn't feel objectively different to me, even from a powertrain perspective. Even though I know it's wildly different. But I'm just saying in terms of like forward thrust.
Yeah, from your experience as the end user. Yeah, very similar.
Didn't feel materially different, and that's why like I come back to like, where's the $160,000? And I was telling as Nick was reclining in the back seat, which is very nice. His feet up on the little footrest that comes up under the passenger seat. I reckon maybe 10, at best 15% of Range Rover owners are actually sitting back there, at least in Canada, with a driver. Most people are in the front seat or in the driver's seat, right? And if the experience isn't that different in the driver's seat,
kind of a problem.
Yeah,
but you're buying this thing because it's the Range Rover.
Yeah, I guess so.
The big one.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's the big one because I even feel like the naming structure is just people don't actually. They'll just call it the big one. They'll say the big one because they don't actually know that it's called just Range Rover.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of backwards to have. Is there anything else that does that? Like, not even cars. Anything else where, like, if it's just the name, that's the top one, and then any suffix is worse, like the iPhone 5S? Like, ICE is worse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the brand is the name of their top-end vehicle.
That's like the LaFerrari.
Yeah. The Ferrari?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just call this like the Range Rover. Yeah.
Actually, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Just have like a little cursive script like diagonal off to the side of Range Rover.
Yeah, but honestly, until I started driving the Ranges, and I haven't been a SUV guy for most of my life, and until I started driving them and looking into them, it's like, oh, okay, so the Sport is actually a model, and not a trim level.
Yeah.
That's different than the actual Range Rover, which is actually the higher model.
Yeah.
I was lost.
Yeah, it's a little like the amount of times you're like, I've got a Range Rover, is like, oh, and then like it's an Evoque.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's it's just
like, not to knock the Evoque, it's a nice little car, but like it's weird that naming applies to both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, good products.
Yeah, they're real nice vehicles. They feel nice. They feel
Absolutely.
I think what Range Rover's kind of done with them is especially with the big one, is position it kind of in the same realm as Bentley, Rolls, Aston, in that like elite club of royalty now. Like, it's not. It started as a utility truck, and now it's a boutique object of desire.
So I think the Range Rover itself, like, it has that panache, right? That people buy it because it is the big one, because it is that status symbol. It's kind of earned that reputation. I feel like this is not a problem that those buyers are going to experience. It's one of those things, like, if you drove the Sport, you'd probably be like, oh, this is good enough and I could save $160,000. But they're not going to do that.
Yeah, because they want the big one.
Yeah. The problem is like, because again, there's so much sameness in the front cabin. Like, they just need to do, and I hate to say this, like, whether it's that gimmicky crap of extra screens or whatever, like, there just needs to be more.
They used to have more screens, because on the Gen prior, there was a separate climate control screen.
Yeah.
And now they've just paneled over that with just a nice piece of wood.
Yeah, but either like have different, and maybe they do. Maybe it's part of the whole bespoke thing you were saying, and there's like so many options that they open, like in terms of interior colors or anything.
There's lots of like beautiful colors and stuff, like tons you can do with different materials and finishes and stuff. But it's always the same layout.
Yeah, that's what the SV unlocks. So this one has, it has an upholstery that JLR calls Ultra Fabric.
Okay.
So it does that whole, like, that the heather cloth on certain parts of the seat. Yeah. And this seat upholstery that doesn't, it feels nice, but it doesn't.
It's kind of partway to suede. It's like a raw leather.
Kind of, yeah.
Like a slightly raw finish. It's not a glossy leather.
It's not quite the finishes that you get in the Defender, but at the same time, it's not the buttery smooth leather that Nathan's tester had last week, or Imran's did a couple weeks ago, or the white SV long wheelbase we had last year.
Yeah, but like our raw leather is expensive.
I think we don't eat at the same restaurants that the owners of these cars eat at, so we don't necessarily understand.
Everyone goes to McDonald's in the night, man.
But what I mean is, like,
2 a.m. What else is open?
Like, I was saying to Nick off camera that, like, the Range Rover Sport that I had a sort of, like, speaker fabric finish to the door a little bit, which I actually really liked and thought it looked very premium, contrasted with the dark chrome and stuff that was there, and then the white leather.
And this one's just like, metal speaker grills. Which is nice, don't get me wrong.
It is, but it's like, if you were to tell me, like, give me a picture of both of them and tell me which one's the more premium one, I can't immediately tell you. Or even like, even to be honest, feeling it, because again, the Range Rover Sports materials feel great also. I couldn't immediately tell you which one is the better one. And my Range Rover Sport had a suede headliner, it was very posh.
And
this one just has straight leather. You know what? There's something to be said about a leather headliner. That's
it's pretty gangster. It's pretty gangster, not gonna lie.
Like, it's one of those things you would not expect to have the thing over your head that you're not looking at have such an influence on the feel of the car, but man, it fucks.
Yeah.
I was trying to drive around, just reach up, that's nice.
Just petting it.
So fancy.
But I feel like, it's clear where the money goes, but like, I don't know. To me, I kind of feel like Nathan's P530 last week, the autobiography, was kind of the sweet spot if you're not going for the long wheelbase.
Well, I mean, if you are, get the long wheelbase. Spend the $5,000, get the long one. It has 4-wheel steering. It's still got a super tight turning circle.
And it's only a $5,000 difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in that realm, that seems, unless you just don't like driving around a bigger car, that seems to make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at that point you have a driver.
But like, we're looking at this from the perspective of like, the North American buyer, where that is positioned exclusively as a like top SKU luxury product.
Yeah.
Whereas like, you can still get those in Europe, and I think in America, and maybe here, I didn't look on the builder, but you can get those short with the 6-cylinder with like a relatively basic loadout of options without the gorgeous leather headliner for like $150.
Really?
Yeah. Remember last year, a base one was $140, and I was really curious to see what a base big boy was like.
Yeah, I was only configuring it a couple of days ago as well, trying to like replicate this one, and it's the big body, the big one goes for less money than you expect in base form.
I guess that makes sense, because the Sport starts at I think 114.
Yeah, and then you build on top from there.
Yeah. So I guess that makes sense. But yeah, so say it again, is that again, great products. Then, and part of the problem is the fact that they're all kind of great products.
Yeah.
No matter what price point you're at, right? So
what a problem to have.
Yeah. Rock in a hard place, but it's a very it's a
sumptuous leather lined place.
It's a suede covered rock and a leather upholstered hard place.
There you go.
There's got to be a joke in there somewhere.
Probably.
And I think that is going to wrap things up for us, because we still have more to cover with the Toyota GR86 Torino that I have this week. I have a lot of things to say about it. I think we all have a lot of things to say about it, and it's too many things to say for the amount of time we have
basically
left.
ran out of time.
Yeah.
We'll save it for next week.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
We will see you guys then. If anyone new is listening from Oblivion, thanks for showing up. Hi. And I hope you guys keep listening. That would be sick. And yeah, we'll see you all really soon.
Thanks for listening, Nathan's mom.
Bye.
Bye.